What's up, guys? It's Austin from Yu-Gi-Oh! Theory, and today I have a deck profile for my dinomist. I've switched them up some since the last time I did a deck profile on them, so I thought I'd do a deck profile on them. And I got some new cards, and I also traded some cards to get some new cards. Some of the cards I had in my old deck profile aren't in here anymore, but still, I think it's overall better now. But anyway, let's get into the deck profile. First, for the monsters, I run 3 Spinos. He's your main level 5. He has an effect where you can tribute one dinomist monster and attack directly or attack twice. And there's no once per turn, so you can activate both those effects to attack directly twice for 2,500. So that's 5,000. It's a really good win condition if you can't really get out too much to try to win. You just attack with Spinos, and you'll usually end up winning like that if you can't get something else out. And then its scale effect is the same of all 3s. I think this is the one that protects against destruction. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, if a dinomist monster be destroyed by I think battle or card effect, you can pop your scale instead and save it. This comes up sometimes if you just activated another Spinos' effect on the field and they're trying to destroy it with something. You can pop the scale so it goes through anyway. So this definitely helps out with the deck a lot. Next you run 3 Rex. It's a scale 6. All the scale 3s and scale 6 effects are the same. Like the scale 3s, I think, protect against destruction, and then scale 6s protect against targeting. So if it could be targeted, you can pop this instead. And its effect is I think when you attack, I think you can tribute one random. I think it is. Wait a second. I hardly ever use its effect, so attacks at the end of the damage step. Yeah, you can tribute one other dinomist monster, then activate one of these effects. This card can make a second attack on an opponent's monster in a row, and if it attacks a defensive position monster, you can flick piercing, or you can shuffle one card your opponent, from your opponent's hand at random, or from their side of the field. Or from their side of the field into the deck, and then he gains 100 attack. So it's really good removal, but honestly, don't use his attack effect that often. It's better just to overlay with him. Next, I run 3 Ceratops. I used to only run 2 Ceratops, but 3 Ceratops has come up very handy lately, because its effect is if you can control only dinomist monsters, you can special summon it from your hand. So what works out is you can just normal summon a level 4, special summon this, link for Mistar Boy, set your scales, pendulum them into the link zones that this Mistar Boy opened up, and then pendulum summon whatever else you have in your hand, and then you can continue to make plays without ever. You can get a link monster on the field without even using your pendulum summon. It's really good. Most of the time, you just do it with a Plesius. The Plesius, it just I think your opponent's monsters lose 100 attack for every dinomist card you control. That counts scales, spells, traps, and monsters, so it can stack up kind of quick because your dinomists don't have the best attack. So this kind of does help you get over things. But it comes in sometimes, but sometimes, it's just easier to overlay for something. Next, I run 3 Dinomist Terran, or Terran, it's however you want to say it, it doesn't matter. This card is when it destroys an opponent's monster, you can add 1 Dinomist card from your deck to your hand, so it's just a searcher, pretty much, and again, good for overlays. Next, I run 2 Brachion. I think it's if your opponent is the only person who controls a monster. I think maybe it has the highest attack. Yeah, if it has the highest attack, you can just special summon this from the hand. And that's, again, not that hard because all dinomist monsters have pretty low attack. And your Xyz don't have the highest attack either, so you can usually just special summon this for free too. But it doesn't come up as much as the Ceratops. Next, for the Draco Slayer engine, I run 2 of the vanilla Draco Slayer. It's just a target for the Synchro and the Xyz Draco card to special summon out, or Draco Face Off. It's a target for that too, and it's a 1950, so it's a pretty good beater. And its pendulum effect is pretty good, or scale effect, I mean. I think once while this card is in the zone, you can target 1 card in your pendulum zone and destroy it, or in a pendulum zone and destroy it. So it's basically like an MST for pendulum scales, but you can only activate it once. What's good to do with this is you can set something in your scale, pop it with him, and then pendulum summon it out of your extra deck if you have a zone open. That's good to do sometimes, but most of the time you want to pop your opponent's scales if they have them. but he can be used either way, so it doesn't really matter. Next, I run one of the Vector. He's the target for the Draco face-off because you got to target a Draco Overlord and a Draco Slayer. So he's the target for the Draco face-off. It really sucks if I draw him, but it's not that bad. Again, he has 1850, so he's a pretty good beater as well. And he just negates all card effects in your opponent's pendulum zones. So he's also really good if I'm dueling another pendulum deck. I'll try to get him in the scale, so their effects are just negated. And then next, I just run the one Luster. I was thinking about running two, but honestly, I don't go into the pendulum, the synchro really enough. And I can search him out with Draco Face Off, and if I get out what's his name, the overlay, you can get him from the extra deck if he goes to the extra deck off of Draco Face Off. So that's nice. And then the last monster, I just run a Max C. I don't run very many hand traps in this deck because it hurts the consistency. And I have cards like Infinity and things like that to negate stuff, so I'm not really too worried about being vulnerable to things because the Dynamists overall are pretty defensive. But if you want to put in hand traps, that's up to you. But I'm telling you right now, it's going to cut down the consistency. But that's it for monsters. Now for spells. Now, when it comes to the spells, I had to proxy in 2 cards. So I don't really like proxying, but I had to. So because I thought I had these cards, I ordered them and they haven't came in yet. So, and I really wanted to do this deck profile, and I'm really impatient. So I just went ahead and did it. I guess it doesn't really matter, but I don't like proxying. But still, first you run 3 Dynamist Charge. It's the Searcher, and then it's really good in Link format because if a Dynamist monster would go to the extra deck, you can add it to your hand instead. So for links, for example, if you link off and you have this on the field, you can just add whatever just went to the extra deck off you link summoning. So that's great. Or if you synchro, which is probably the least 2 things you'll do. You mostly overlay, but still, this comes up a lot anyway. Next, you run 2 Pot of Desires. I don't like resolving more than 1 desire in this deck, so I only run 2. And if I see the third one, and if I'm in a tight position, I will activate, not the third one, the second one. If I'm in a tight position, I will activate the second one, but I don't like to because it just kind of hurts the engine a little bit. But it's still good at 2, and I'll still like it at 2 because I see it when I need to, but more than 2 would just be too much. And for the cards I'm proxying, just instant fusion. You just pay 1,000 and fusion anything from your extra deck. The targets you'd use for this are like Panzer Dragon and then the Sea Beast Theseus, that level 6 tuner, or maybe it's level 5. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter, but still that. Next, 1 Draco Face Off for just consistency, really. You reveal 1 Draco Slayer and then 1 Draco Overlord, and then your opponent picks, and I think the one they pick gets either special summoned or put in your scale, and the other one just goes to the extra deck. So that's always good. And I run the scale 3 Draco Overlord, so if they do pick the Draco Overlord, I can just choose to put it in my scale instead of summoning it. Because if they do pick the Draco Overlord, you don't really want it on the field because you can't overlay into the Draco Slayer Xyz with it. It has to be a Draco Slayer. Next, I use 1 Upstart Goblin. Upstart Goblin's pretty good. Just give your opponent 1,000 and then you draw a card. So I think it's totally worth it that they get 1,000. That's why it's limited. 1 Twin Twister against other Pendulum decks, and also it's just Twin Twister is overall a good card. So I just run it at 1. 1 Dark Hole. If you have a Regeki, run it Regeki, but Dark Hole will still be pretty good until Regeki, especially if Regeki gets banned. Dark Hole is definitely going to be the number 1. But that's it for spells. So let's get into traps. First, I run 2 Dynamist Rush. I only run 2 because it only really gets you like a lot of advantage if you activate it during your turn. So that means you have to set and then wait a turn to activate it. But it's still good, and it's also good that if you're about to get attacked directly, you could just activate this, special summon 1 from your deck in defense, and then it's ready to pendulum summon next turn if you have your scales up. Speaking of having your scales up, 2 Dynamist Howling. First of all, when you activate it, it loads your scales, and then once it's already been on the field, you can tribute 1 of your Dynamist monsters to bounce 1 of your opponent's cards to their hand, so it's really effective. Unless you're bouncing spells, that's pretty much the only thing that it really doesn't help out against. There's just that. But I have the Twin Twisters for that, but still. And then last, for the main deck, you just run the Silent Brigade to negate stuff and whatnot. It's good at just 2 strikes and 1 solemn. I like that ratio, and I'll probably keep using that ratio unless something happens. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. Now for the extra deck. First off, I run 2 Cyber Dragon Infinity. Cyber Dragon Infinity is just the negator of the deck. He's really good. He can pretty much negate just about anything. And then during your main phase, you can target one of your opponent's attack position monsters and then equip it to him. So it's like a Big Eye and I guess a Zombie Stein or a Totally Awesome, something like that. Had a baby, so it's really good. Next, you run Novas to get into the Infinity. That's pretty self-explanatory, to be honest. 1 Abyss Dweller to negate graveyard effects. Graveyard effects aren't super prevalent right now, but I like having it just in case I need to negate something, because they are pretty relevant in like a bunch of rogue decks, so that's what I usually keep it for. And I usually duel a lot of rogue. 1 Babushka the Terribly Tired Tapir. It's really good for stalling and for kind of just like kind of shutting your opponent down. That's really what it's good for. And that's about all I can say about it. 1 Musketeer is good for getting rid of things that you need out of the way for an attack. About the same with that. About all I can say about it. 1 Heavy Train Armor, or 1 Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf. You can target a machine monster and then make it work and attack directly. So usually you would target itself, or maybe if you have another Dinomist, target it if it has more attack, and you can just get a free 200 or 2,200 damage on your opponent. So that's always good. And then if this dies, you can add a level 4 machine type monster from your deck to your hand. So that's good too. So you can add pretty much a good chunk of your Dinomist, like 8 of them, I believe, or 6. Next, you run 1 of the Majesty Paladin Draco Slayers. I thought I had one, but I can't find it, so I have to proxy it, but that's fine. I know its effect pretty well. I think when it's Synchro Summon, during the end phase, you can add a pendulum monster from your deck to your hand, and then you can maybe detach one. I'm not sure which effect you have to detach for. I think you detach for it, and then you can special summon a Draco Slayer from your extra deck. Face up from your extra deck, so that's good to just get on that, get out those extra Draco Slayers so you can continue to overlay. Well, you can't overlay unless you have what's his face in the field, but just to have it out there, just for extra attack, because they do have pretty high attack for level 4s. Next, I run 2 Miss Starboy. Miss Starboy is just to link into. His effect is okay. Water monsters gain 500 attack, so it puts Spinos at 3,000 and Rex at 29, so it makes them pretty familiar, pretty big monsters. So it is nice to have them as Starboy, but to be honest, I probably won't even run them as Starboy when the Cleafort Link monster comes out and the Metal Foe Link monster come out. I'll probably run just 2 of each of those because they're way better. They have better effects, and I can use both of them. Next, I run 1 Proxy Dragon, just to open up extra link zones, because sometimes I get it out and it's really good, but sometimes I don't. That's why I only run it at 1. I think 2 is too much. This is the instant fusion targets. One of these is Panzer Dragon, the other one is the Sea Beast Theseus, the tuner fusion thing. At least I think that's its name, but that's what those are supposed to be. And then the last card in my extra deck is the Luster Prominus, the Blasting Draco Slayer. Yeah, he's really good for getting rid of things, and then you can special summon a Draco Slayer from your deck, so he helps out a lot with consistency as well. Even better than the Ascending Magister Paladin one. So if I could, I'd run him at 2 or 3 just because of how good he is, but I don't see him coming off the ban list anytime soon just because of that reason. So all I can do is hope for now. But that's it with the deck profile. So that's it with the deck profile. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed. By the way, I'm giving away a Ghost Ogre on my channel. So if you want to win this Ghost Ogre, just go to the video that I'm giving the Ghost Ogre on, and just watch the video and follow the instructions to enter to win the Ghost Ogre. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.